So here were the limitations. One is they had to use Rudolph, obviously. Okay. They also had to use their creative discipline. So whatever it is that they do as a creative person, we contacted them and said, hey, can you do that thing for us? And most of them said yes. Some said no. We'll get them next year. The other limitations are they had their presentation is divided into 2 parts. The first 10 slides is the story. So this whole thing is not the Rudolph story, it's just the first 10 slides. The second 10 slides are their process. So they're going to tell you how they solved this problem, which is the part that I was most excited about, because as a teacher I really like seeing students work through a problem, and I think as creative people you are going to learn quite a bit from seeing how these people solved this problem. It also gave them only half of the time to make something, so they were more likely to say yes. So the Rudolph story is 3.5 minutes, and then the whole thing is 6 minutes and 40 seconds. The last limitations are, they had 4 slides that they had to cover. The first one is a title slide. The 4th slide had to have Santa on it. The 7th slide had to have all the other reindeer, and the 10th slide has to have Rudolph and his nose shining. So that's what we told them. All 10 of these presentations came together sort of on their own, and they're all brilliant. I'm just really excited about what's about to happen. So, did I cover everything, Jake? Bingo. Yeah, Jake says bingo. Okay, and I say that because I will have lots of future students, and he will still be one of my favorite students of all time. He's super clever, he's a really funny guy, he's super creative. I originally, when I asked him to be a part of this, he said, oh, can I be the musician? And I said, oh, we already got one of those. Fortunately, he has lots of talents, so I asked him to do the illustration slot instead. Josh is a graphic designer, an amateur illustrator, and a musician. He grew up in Kansas, and he's lived his entire life in the Midwest, including Omaha, for 3.5 years. Currently a student at Metro, on track to graduate at the end of the summer. He hopes to make a career in implementing his talents for positive social change and good grammar. Josh Collinsworth.
I'd like to take you to the distant future. Christmas 2013. The faraway land of Nebraska. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and through the Midwest, the good little reindeer who'd been at their best were dreaming of toys they hoped Santa would bring, like crossbows and buckshot and other kid things. Donner would get some new waiters with luck, Dancer some vanity plates for his truck. Prancer had Husker gear topping his list, but hoped that his rifle scope wouldn't be missed. But one little reindeer was lying awake. Not 'cause he was anxious for morning to break, or so looking forward to college bowl season. Poor Rudolph was up for a quite different reason. It's stranger than fiction, the doctors had said, regarding the illness which lit his nose red. But no diagnosis left no hope for cure. It could be too much runza, but the doctors weren't sure. Well, at first, little Rudolph remained optimistic. He knew that the problem was far from simplistic, but he had insurance and youth on his side and never imagined his claim as denied. But John's dear insurance was just in the biz to look out for their snouts and not to mind his. And so with the phrase pre-existing condition, his health plan became as effective as fishing. When Rudolph explained that this system was flawed, the old big-name reindeer all called him a fraud. "You just want our cash," they cried. "Nothing is free." Well, waiting for toys to appear beneath their trees. At reindeer town hall debates, apparently. Wherever went Rudolph, from home Husker games to concerts by Bright Eyes. The rest called him names like socialist, communist, and once Mussolini. They hated him almost as much as Pellini. I knew you'd like that one. But Christmas arrived on that Bible Belt dawn with hope long forgotten by this little fawn. His red shining nose, with the care that it lacked, was now fully covered by the Affordable Care Act. Thanks, Obama. It's a thick book. With no more rejection for prior conditions, and no spending limits, why, it was near Christian. Poor Rudolph could finally fix up his poor nose, so he never saved Christmas with its shining red... Wait, he never saved Christmas because he got health care? But that's not how this is supposed to end. Well, where's this going? Well played, man. Well played. So when I first started trying to think of what to do for this presentation, the only Rudolph that I was aware of was the song. I had somehow never seen the Christmas special or read the book, and my initial ideas all revolved around the song, and in fact about how, really no offense, how terrible this song is. I was originally just going to rewrite the song to be about how bad it is. That was just my first idea. I'm going to harp on this for a second because it's very important to me. The worst line in the whole song is where he says, if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. Like, picture a book where the author says, so there's this chick, and if you ever saw her, you'd say she's hot. Like, this is the kind of writing this song is employing. And then it was weird to me that we never really find out why Rudolph's nose is red, although clearly I had a lot of fun speculating on that topic. The idea of sickness came to me while I was doing these sketches, and that kind of started to lead to my idea, but I was just struck by how much is left out of this story. We also don't have any context as to what reindeer games are. I speculated that maybe the other reindeer wouldn't play with Rudolph because he kept sending them Candy Crush invites, and nobody wants to play Candy Crush Saga. And then, of course, there's Santa Claus, who doesn't even show up while the other 8 reindeer are abusing poor Rudolph, but then mysteriously appears when he needs a favor because Santa Claus is apparently a self-serving jerk. And then the other 8 reindeer are like, yeah, we like you now, even though nothing's changed, because we're sycophantic dicks. But the main thing that was kind of a turning point in telling my story was hearing Bryan Singer speak at this year's the show. Bryan Singer is a designer who kind of employs an acerbic wit to make a point in his design. And I had kind of been toying with some version of my idea, and I didn't know if I had the courage to do it. And hearing him speak and seeing some of his works, which you'll see on screen here, kind of inspired me. Like, for example, these cans, like, they have a message, but they're also kind of funny. Yeah, there's dog poop on the screen right now. You can feel however you want to about that, that's fine. But I was kind of inspired to try to say something. I wanted to do that. And then we were all of us on stage, part of the packet we got was to ask the question of, how is this story relevant today? And I realized this: Rudolph was different, disadvantaged, and helpless. This made everybody treat him even worse, and we find nothing about that strange or unbelievable. Like, of all the things that I was questioning about the song, the idea to question this part never even crossed my mind. And if you take nothing else away from this, whatever else you think about what you heard up here, we need to change that. And I read the book, and you guys, it's delightful. This book is just great, and it gave me the idea to do the illustrations. It gave me the poem and the meter that I used to use the amount of words and the amount of syllables that I needed to tell my story. But the most important part of this decision, like every decision I make, was this one. It was the idea my wife liked best. Thank you guys very much. It's been an honor to be here.